I'm no tech billionaire with some unicorn exit, but I have made my clients over $500 million. And to get here, I've had lots of ups and downs. I'd go as far as to say that I've experienced more crises, career pivots, and complete reinventions than most people do in a lifetime, certainly people my age or even perhaps twice my age. So here are 7 bite-sized lessons from someone who's generated massive client results that are probably going to be valuable to you if you're trying to level up in both life and business. Number 1, find work that makes your brain obsess in the best way. Here's the truth about generating massive results. It only happens when you're genuinely fascinated by the work. When I was just executing campaigns, I might move the needle a little bit, but when I found work that made my brain obsess, helping leaders with identity, positioning, branding, and revenue generation, that's when I started creating 10x outcomes. When you're doing work that you actually care about, everything becomes research. I'd be listening to a neuroscience podcast and suddenly I'd have an insight about why certain messaging resonates. My brain was constantly making connections because I was genuinely fascinated. And it's that obsession that allowed me to see opportunities other consultants missed. The $500 million in results, it doesn't come from working just longer hours. It came from finding work that made me naturally better at pattern recognition and strategic thinking. Number 2, complexity is the enemy of execution, and execution is what drives results. The strategies that work are usually unbelievably simple. I used to think that I needed these fancy setups and complicated systems, but all that complexity was actually just slowing down my ability to deliver results. So now my setup is simple. I sit here, I have one laptop, I got a good internet, and I do the same routine every day. I can focus 100% on my mental energy and on client outcomes instead of managing complexity even in my environment. The most successful campaigns weren't the ones with 47 different tactics and automations. They were the ones that did 3 to 4 things extremely well. The $500 million in results came from simplifying client approaches, not by complicating them. All right, so number 3, authenticity became my competitive advantage. For years, I thought that I had to always be on. Be this networking and client services machine. I'd force myself to work every room and answer every call thinking, well, that's how you build a business, right? But then I realized that I do my best work in smaller, more focused settings with deeper conversations and connections. Some of my biggest client wins came from a 90-minute one-on-one where I could really understand what my clients' challenges were. I stopped trying to be what I thought clients wanted, and I started being exactly who I was. And it turns out clients don't want another generic consultant. They want someone who thinks differently and someone who brings a unique perspective. Number 4, performance incentive models changed everything. It's all about quality clients over quantity. Here's how I went from chasing new clients constantly to generating $500 million, but with fewer, better relationships. I started tying my compensation directly to the business results instead of just charging for time or deliverables. Instead of trying to sign as many clients as I possibly could, I focused on finding the right clients where I could create massive value and get rewarded accordingly. The 80-20 rule, it's absolutely real. 20% of your clients are going to make you 80% of your money. But here's what most people miss. When you deliver exceptional results, communicate extremely well, and fill their war chest with cash, those are the clients who will never let you go. I learned to structure deals where my upside was tied to their business outcomes. So if I helped them generate an extra $5 million in revenue, I'd get a percentage of that. This model benefits everyone. Clients love it because they're only paying big money when they're making big money. And I love it because one great client relationship can be worth more than 10 mediocre ones. But here's the thing, this approach only works when you have the confidence to price yourself appropriately from the start, which brings us to number 5. You can't do performance-based deals when you're positioned as the cheapest option. When you price yourself as a commodity, clients expect commodity results and commodity timelines. But when you're positioned as someone who delivers breakthrough outcomes, clients are willing to structure deals where everyone wins big. They understand that they're not just buying a service. They're partnering with someone who can fundamentally change their business trajectory. Here's what changed everything for me. I stopped competing on price and started competing on outcomes. Instead of saying, sure, I'll run your ads for $3,000 a month, I started saying, I'm gonna help you dominate your market, and we'll structure this so that I only make serious money when you do. Premium positioning gave me the credibility to propose these performance deals in the first place. Clients don't offer equity or revenue shares to the discount consultant. They offer them to the person that they believe can create extraordinary results. The biggest wins came from engagements where I could invest weeks understanding their business before proposing solutions. Then I would structure compensation around the value that I created. That's how individual client relationships turned into millions in mutual value creation. So when you're truly invested in their results, not just completing a scope of work, you think like an owner, not like a vendor. You spot the opportunities that others miss, and you protect your client's downside. That's how you become indispensable to their success. Number 6, long-term value creation beats chasing trends. The strategies that create lasting value are usually the opposite of whatever everyone else is chasing right now. I've seen smart businesses sabotage long-term success by optimizing for short-term gains. The clients who contributed most to that $500 million were the ones who were focused on sustainable competitive advantages rather than chasing whatever seemed to be just working this quarter. When you help clients build something sustainable, rather than just something that works right now, results compound over time. That's how individual engagements turn into millions in value creation. Number 7, embracing difficult challenges created the biggest breakthroughs. If generating results were easy, every consultant would deliver the same outcomes. The obstacles aren't problems to avoid. They're what create the biggest opportunities for value creation. The biggest client wins came from engagements other consultants would have absolutely walked away from. Complex organizational changes, market repositioning during competitive threats. These are the types of projects that created the most amount of value because they solved problems that clients couldn't solve internally. Here's my final words. The $500 million in results didn't come from better tactics or longer hours. It came from approaching client work fundamentally different. Focus on long-term value, develop your strategic judgment, and remember that sustainable success comes from solving problems that clients can't solve anywhere else.